Hello YouTube modelers, welcome back to my channel. I want to thank all my viewers and subscribers for tuning in. I'm going to be starting this new kit, still sealed. I guess I'm on a Plymouth binge build because my last build was at 41 Plymouth. So I don't know whether I'll be working on this kit continuously because usually I'm one kit at a time, because a group build is coming up and it will be announced that I'm joining, so I may have to stop, but I do want to spray paint this. So this is a 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda 426. I built, according to ScaleMates, the box art was first introduced in 2012. This one is a 2020 edition, so fairly recent. I think this model is still available. You can still get it new. This, of course, is a original monogram model because it's 1/24 scale. I pretty much have an idea of what I want to do with this. So let me break the seal and we'll do the unboxing. Alright, so cellophane is off. Here's the kit. Everything's individually bagged. So let me open up the bag because it seems like not that many parts. Okay, so everything is out of the plastic bag, so let's take a quick look at the chrome. The wheels are molded closed, so I have to black wash it. The Hemi valve covers, so I have to wire right into the valve cover. Engine parts, nice chrome, shifter. Tires are just smooth walls, so I'm going to dip into my tire decal set, the glass with the 4 headlights. The parts seem very thin. Here is the body, has the vent, sometimes these could be a pain to paint. For example, the washer fluid bottle and the battery is already on the inside fender. I wish it was a separate component because then I have to mask and paint it. It's a little bit more challenging. I wish the battery and this was separate. Okay. Interior tub, front nose, the chassis, seats, hood, the shaker hood, intake. I love louvers in the back, it looks nice. Let's take a look at the decals and instruction sheets. You have the rear fender decals. Dr. Hemi. Let's take a look at the instruction sheets. Parts count seems low. Typical part identification along with the color guide. So large instructions, booklet seems thick, but that's because each step is broken down to just 1 or 2 parts at a time as opposed to a large exploded wheel. So although it seems like a lot, it's actually not too bad. The part count doesn't seem like a lot of parts. I already know what I want to do with it. I probably will follow the box art. I actually bought a spray can. This will be a rattle can job. I actually bought a spray can of purple in preparation for this. So it'll probably be purple with a black decal. White lettering decal on the side walls. Wire it. So from here I'll wash the parts and then spray some color. So to pick up where I left off, the Revell 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda, I finally splashed some color. The body is grape gloss right over here. I use the same type of spray cans and method as my last 41 Plymouth, but this one I think what some people refer to as ghosting. There was a little bit of paint is not consistent, so I'll try to fix that with some wet sanding and some polishing. So there it is, some inconsistent tone in the paint, but the body is grape gloss. Interior is gloss charcoal gray, which is over here. Same thing as some chassis parts, and then of course the body I finished it with Krylon clear. This is very thin, so you can't spray too much of it or else it starts to run. But pretty much this is where I am. I started to detail paint it, so I still have a bit to go, but just to let you know, this kit reminds me of something you would buy from Ollie's because it's a low parts count. I mean, battery is already molded in. The engine, the starter is already molded in. The exhaust is molded into the chassis, which makes it harder to paint because if it was separate, I could have just sprayed it separately. Even the radiator and the fan shroud is all one piece. Usually it's several pieces. Same thing with the suspension, right? If it's detailed, it would come with the tie rods or king pins, upper and lower arms, but this one, sometimes even the anti-sway bar is separate, but this one is all one piece. So that's the reason why this should be a quick build. Okay, so I'll be back when I have more progress. Okay, so I just realized that this is a torsion bar suspension, so that's the reason why it may not have the same components as a coil spring, but anyway, they could have broke it out to several pieces instead of just one sub-assembly. Alright, so the sub-assemblies are completed. I just want to show it to you before I mate everything together, because then you won't be able to see it in such great detail. So here is the engine and chassis. This 426 Hemi is tremendous in size. It just looks so big. Everything has been detailed. The exhaust is molded into the chassis, so you're going to have to do a good job painting it. This is the interior with red seat belts. I put the walnut, the wood grain effect on the dash. The pistol grip shifter. The body, a lot of chrome trim. So everything's done. Detailed. I just wish the battery was separate, but can't put anything else in there because you have to made it after this. That's the front end, the front nose, the rear valance underneath, the bumper, the hood, the ram air, side mirrors. I always put these last because they're so easy to break off. Front bumper with the fog lights, rear bumper, upper radiator hose, master brake cylinder. So I have to make the engine or else this will get knocked off. So two things they don't have. They have an upper, but they don't have a lower radiator hose. I may not include one. And then one other thing, this happened also with my 1970 Challenger. They don't supply a rear shock absorber. That's strange. So I'm going to have to fabricate one. But I will be back when everything's made it. I want to do a quick mail call for my buddy Dario. Dario's Model Bills. Our friend, neighbor from Ottawa, up north. As you can see from his shop card, first of all, it's very beautiful. He's got a diverse array of models that he builds. Godzilla, fighter jets, show rods, Bride of Frankenstein. What is that? Something Royal, the show rod. Is that 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea? And Hunchback of Notre Dame. Anyway, he has a diverse build, and he has a great channel. So I'll include his channel in my description. Please go check out his channel if you haven't done so already. And thanks for the kind words and the shop card, Dario. Here we are at the final reveal of the Revell 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda 426. So let's take a quick look at it. Here it is in, I guess what Mopar calls Plum Crazy. Kind of reminds me of Purple Bubblicious, or you remember the Choward scented gum that came in a cardboard rectangular box, and it was a purple square gum. That's what it reminds me of. But anyway, here's the kit. Comes together pretty nice. This kit is a fast build because there are many parts that are ordinarily 2 or 3 pieces, but it's one piece, similar to the kits, the monogram kits you would get at Ollie's. Like the exhaust was already molded into the chassis. Starter and oil filter was already on the engine, so things like that. But it was a fun build nonetheless. There are a lot of molded features onto the parts in the body to allow you to detail paint it if you wish. So I did take advantage of that. So because it's a Barracuda, I guess these are gills to resemble the gills behind a shark or a barracuda's head, similar to those, right? So I just took a Molotow pen, and I have a 2mm and a 1mm, but the 1mm keeps clog on me, so I've been using the thicker 2mm. So doing those gills are a little bit challenging because sometimes I go a little wide. So then I have to come back with the purple or the black and rework that. But anyway, you can detail paint it if you wish. I think this B body coupe sits a little high. I'm fine with it, but if you want, you can kind of play with the suspension. The suspension isn't really that many pieces, so you could do some hard cutting in order to lower this suspension. The wheels are one-piece chrome. So what I did was I sprayed it with a clear coat to tone down the chrome, and then I painted this portion. Well, I blacked out the holes, right, to make it look like it was molded open. Then I painted this part steel, and then I painted the center cap gloss charcoal gray to make it look like anthracite. So it kind of makes it look like it's 3 pieces. Of course, the portion where the paint came out perfect is covered by the decal, and then this portion with a little bit of shade variance was not covered by the decal. This is a rattle can job, so the paint was not that consistent. I get a little bit of tone difference with hazing, but it's fine because it doesn't look too bad. I did take it all the way from wet sanding all the way down to polishing, so the paint is as smooth as I can get it. So let's take a look at the engine. It's got the ram air in the front here. I'm going to have to remove the hood because it doesn't hold up by itself. So there's the engine. This part you do not glue, so you can take it off. I remember buying this kit. I already knew what color I wanted it to be. Just like the box art, a high impact purple color. I think it would look equally nice in a high impact yellow, lime green, orange, any brightly colored. So I already bought the purple rattle can in preparation for this, like several years ago when I bought this kit, and also the violet distributor wires. The carbs, I just painted the inside a little bit of gold, accentuated the coil. I did have to push the distributors down because it kind of pushes this ram air up. The hood doesn't really quite come down as nicely as I wanted it. The master brake cylinder. Only an upper radiator hose. Only an upper radiator hose is supplied. There is no lower, so if you want, you can put a lower one in there. And of course, as I had mentioned, there is no rear shock absorbers. I think that was inherent in these older legacy monogram kits that became Revell, because I also built the 70 Challenger, which also didn't have a rear shock absorber. So I just took some sprue from the sprue tree, 2 different diameters, and fabricated a piston-like shape to make it look like a shock absorber. That exhaust is actually molded into the chassis, so no separate pieces. So just be careful when you paint it. I much rather it was a separate piece because I could have just spray painted really quick and easy. The front end is all one piece. That sway bar is not separated. It is all part of that front end sub-assembly, the torsion bar. So that's what I mean by it's a low parts count, but the detail is there if you want to accentuate it. Inside, I painted the wood grain because back then they did have wood grain dash and wood grain middle console, but there's no detail for middle console, so I just made the pistol grip in wood grain. Red seatbelts. Did nice and slow with the Molotow pen this time, so I didn't go, and no stray marks or going wide when doing the chrome trim. I actually did do the chrome trim around the rear window and then realized you're not going to see it because the louvers go over it. But it did look good without the louvers and without the rear wing spoiler, so if you want to leave it without that, it would look equally as nice. No BF Goodrich this time because since there's so much graphic decals, I did not want the white lettering on the tires to overpower anything, so I went for the smaller Goodyear polyglass tire decals. So that's about it. Good build, but just be careful with this rear valance plate on the bottom, because this bumper comes included with the license plate base behind it, so you have to put the bumper on first and then put this lower rear valance plate on, and This was kind of hard to get it nice and flush on the corners. I actually had to stick this tweezer inside to hold it in place overnight. So this bottom rear valance plate is going to give you a little bit of an issue. Do take the time out to detail the gills or the ventilating holes. And that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this build. It is a nice build, but it is a low parts count, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. So stay tuned, and I'll have stills at the end. And thanks for watching.